An Alzheimer's Disease Guide. Chapter 1. Alzheimer's Disease Info. Alzheimer's Disease Info 1. Alzheimer's disease is the term used to describe a dementing disorder marked by certain brain changes, regardless of the age of onset. Alzheimer's disease is not a normal part of aging, and it is not something that inevitably happens in later life. Rather, it is one of the dementing disorders, a group of brain diseases that lead to the loss of mental and physical functions. The underlying causes of Alzheimer's disease are not known according to conventional medical doctrine, but I know one cause. Use it or lose it. The brain is a muscle that has to be exercised. Brain cells degenerate and die, causing memory loss and a loss of intellectual abilities. The disease usually progresses over a course of about 8 to 10 years. Memory problems eventually worsen. He or she becomes apathetic and withdrawn. In later stages of the disease, the person becomes confused and disoriented, and also may become delusional, agitated, and even violent. There is a correlation between Alzheimer's and the following factors: depression, drug interactions, excessive alcohol intake, fatigue, hearing problems, kidney failure, liver disease, neurological disorders, Parkinson's disease, poor diet, side effects of medication, stroke, thyroid disorders, vision problems. Some people in the early to middle stages may benefit from medications such as Donepezil or Tacrin. Some warning signs of Alzheimer's disease are: recent memory loss, difficulty performing familiar tasks, problems speaking or understanding speech, disorientation of time and place, gets lost, forgets the day of the week it is, poor judgment, forget things on the stove, dress in winter clothes on a summer day, etc. Can't count money accurately, lose keys, wallet, dentures, etc. Changes in personality to be moody. A very small minority of Alzheimer's patients are under 50 years of age. Most are over 65. Only 5 to 6% of older people are afflicted by Alzheimer's disease or a related dementia, but this means approximately 3 to 4 million Americans have one of these debilitating disorders. Research indicates that 1% of the population aged 65 to 75 has severe dementia, increasing to 7% of those aged 75 to 85 and to 25% of those 85 or older. As our population ages and the number of Alzheimer's patients increases, costs of care will rise as well. Alzheimer's usually occurs slowly. The patients lose their memory and thinking abilities little by little, day by day. Alzheimer's disease originates in the brain's memory bank, an area called the hippocampus. Alzheimer's disease info 2. Mild memory loss is a natural consequence of aging. Normal memory loss is something like forgetting a name or a place. Alzheimer's memory loss is when you don't remember what you did 6 hours ago or put something on the stove and forget about it. Alzheimer's disease destroys neurons in the cerebral cortex, where the majority of information processing takes place. According to the Alzheimer's Association, the most common symptoms of emerging Alzheimer's disease are as follows: recent, frequent memory loss, forgetting telephone numbers, people's names, assignments at work, misplacing things, not merely losing the car keys but stashing items in inappropriate places like a toaster in the freezer or a watch in the sugar bowl, difficulty performing familiar tasks, preparing a meal but forgetting to serve it, language problems, forgetting simple words, using incorrect words, or an inability to form a coherent sentence, disorientation of time and place, not knowing the day of the week, forgetting a destination, or becoming lost in familiar places. Impaired judgment, wearing several shirts or blouses at once. Problems with abstract thinking, being unable to balance a checkbook. Abrupt mood swings, careening from calm to anger to tears for no apparent reason. Changes in personality, uncharacteristic confusion, fear, paranoia. A passive demeanor and loss of initiative, retreating into a shell. If you find several of these symptoms occurring within yourself or within others around you, make an appointment with a neurologist. Alzheimer's disease info 3. Although Alzheimer's disease is not yet curable or reversible, there are ways to alleviate symptoms and suffering and to assist families. And not every person with this illness must necessarily move to a nursing home. Many thousands of patients, especially those in the early stages of the disease, are cared for by their families at home. Indeed, one of the most important aspects of medical management is family education and family support services. When or whether to transfer a patient to a nursing home is a decision to be carefully considered by the family. The onset of Alzheimer's disease is usually very slow and gradual, seldom occurring before age 65. Over time, however, it follows a progressively more serious course. Among the symptoms that typically develop, none are unique to Alzheimer's disease at its various stages. It is therefore essential for suspicious changes to be thoroughly evaluated before they become inappropriately or negligently labeled Alzheimer's disease. Problems of memory, particularly recent or short-term memory, are common early in the course of the disease. For example, the individual may, on repeated occasions, forget to turn off the iron or may not recall which of the morning's medicines were taken. Mild personality changes, such as less spontaneity or a sense of apathy and a tendency to withdraw from social interactions, may occur early in the illness. As the disease progresses, problems in abstract thinking or in intellectual functioning develop. You may notice the individual beginning to have trouble with figures when working on bills, with understanding what is being read or with organizing the day's work. Further disturbances in behavior and appearance may also be seen at this point, such as agitation, irritability, quarrelsomeness, and a diminishing ability to dress appropriately. The average course of the disease from the time it is recognized to death is about 6 to 8 years, but it may range from under 2 years to over 20 years. Those who develop the disorder later in life may die from other illnesses, such as heart disease, before Alzheimer's disease reaches its final and most serious stage. The reaction of an individual to the illness and the way he or she copes with it also varies and may depend on such factors as lifelong personality patterns and the nature and severity of the stress in the immediate environment. As research on Alzheimer's disease continues, scientists are now describing other abnormal chemical changes associated with the disease. These include nerve cell degeneration in certain areas of the brain. Also, defects in certain blood vessels supplying blood to the brain have been studied as a possible contributing factor. Alzheimer's disease has emerged as one of the great mysteries in modern-day medicine, with a growing number of clues but still no answers as to its cause. Researchers have come up with a number of theories about the cause of this disease, but so far the mystery remains unresolved. Because of the many other disorders that are often confused with Alzheimer's disease, a comprehensive clinical evaluation is essential to arrive at a correct diagnosis of any symptoms that look similar to those of Alzheimer's disease. In most cases, the family physician can be consulted about the best way to get the necessary examinations. Stress on the family can take a toll on both the patient and the caregiver alike. Caregivers are usually family members, either spouses or children, and usually wives and daughters. As time passes and the burden mounts, it not only places the mental health of family caregivers at risk, it also diminishes their ability to provide care to the diseased patient. Hence, assistance to the family as a whole must be considered. As the disease progresses, families experience increasing anxiety and pain at seeing unsettling changes in a loved one, and they commonly feel guilt over not being able to do enough. The prevalence of reactive depression among family members in this situation is disturbingly high. Caregivers are chronically stressed and are much more likely to suffer from depression than the average person. If caregivers have been forced to retire from positions outside the home, they feel progressively more isolated and no longer productive members of society. The likelihood, intensity, and duration of depression among caregivers can all be lowered through available interventions. For example, to the extent that family members can offer emotional support to each other and perhaps seek professional consultation, they will be better prepared to help their loved one manage the illness and to recognize the limits of what they themselves can reasonably do. Alzheimer's disease info 4. Though Alzheimer's disease cannot at present be cured, reversed, or stopped in its progression, much can be done to help both the patient and the family live through the course of the illness with greater dignity and less discomfort. Toward this goal, appropriate clinical interventions and community services should be vigorously sought. There is one approved treatment in the drug called Cognex, tacrin hydrochloride. Beware of scam artists trying to sell any other OTC supplements to supposedly alleviate the symptoms. While Alzheimer's disease remains a mystery, with its cause and cure not yet found, there is considerable excitement and hope about new findings that are unfolding in numerous research settings. The connecting pieces to the puzzle called Alzheimer's disease continue to be found. Based on all the research being done, some possible causes are as follows. Poor eating habits. Physical inactivity. Exposure to electromagnetic fields/EMFs in either machines, tools, or gadgets. People exposed to chemicals in their work like a painter. Bacteria or viruses that attack the brain like chlamydia pneumoniae. Oversupply of common minerals in the brain like aluminum, lead and zinc. People with elevated levels of the amino acid homocysteine have been found to get Alzheimer's more than other people. An aspirin a day seems to stop the inflammation of brain tissue. Vitamin E, B12, folic acid, thiamine, B1, ginseng, phosphatidylserine, PS, docosahexaenoic acid, DHA, and ginkgo biloba help. Alzheimer Day is the last Sunday of September. Stop smoking. Keep an active mind. Alzheimer's Association 800-272-3900. Alzheimer one-liner ideas. Check the temperature of the food before serving it to an Alzheimer patient. Check the temperature of the plate or cup too. Food is one of the few pleasures left. Try to serve them food that makes them feel good for a few minutes. Install an intercom system in the bedroom beside the bed. A baby monitor will enable you to hear if they fall or scream in pain. A chiming mat will alert you that a person is leaving the bed. You can get a portable toilet and put it near the bed. You can buy hospital beds with rails on them for safety, or you can buy a bed rail that can be used on the current bed to prevent a fall. Some hospital beds have electronic devices that allow you to raise and lower either the top or bottom of the bed. Increase the lighting in the home during the daytime to lessen the chance of the Alzheimer seeing shadows, delusions, or hallucinations. Decrease lighting at bedtime to make it as dark as possible so the patient gets a good night's sleep in deep darkness, which is good for health. A totally dark bedroom might help stop nighttime waking. Get rid of most things in the house that are not being used, even the big china cabinet and all the china. Sell personal valuables and stuff like that. The AZ patient can lose these things. Remove all breakable objects like glass. Keep the floor clear and empty of anything like footstools, the newspaper bucket, etc. Make the bedroom comfortable but get rid of stuff not needed. Some radio and TV is good, but it can irritate the patient. It's called overstimulation. Some patients are no longer able to separate reality from fantasy. They think the guy on TV is talking to them. Insurance or Medicare might pay for some home medical supplies and products. Some AZ patients want to smoke. The risk of fire is not worth it. The best you can do is hold on to the cigarettes and matches. Give them cigarettes one by one. Light them for them. Install a smoke detector and have a fire extinguisher close by. If there are thresholds between rooms, put in a smooth piece of wood or some kind of flashing to get rid of the height difference. People can easily stumble on these. Place child-proof doorknob covers on doors or lock some rooms so the demented person doesn't wander into rooms. If you have a swimming pool, drain it. Put a fence around it. Fence any area near water. AZ patients can escape through automatic garage doors. Lock the door to the garage. Try not to have the AZ patient live in an apartment or above the ground floor of any house. Apartments are bad because of elevators, stairs, and open windows. Patients can climb out of windows. A person with dementia will probably lose their ability to speak with sense. People do become living scatterbrains. Their bodies are healthy. Their minds are shot. Everyone is unique. There is no textbook AZ patient. Get to know what your patient does. Try to help them. Throw away old mail and old bills. Throw out all books and magazines not being used. Many people wander off. My dog runs away all the time. I got a big tag on him with my address and phone number on it. People bring him to the front door. Get a safe return bracelet. Rugs and carpets can cause a person with dementia to trip and fall because the person doesn't account for the slight difference in height from the floor, so he or she will stumble over it. People can slip on some floors. Get rid of all mere home decor. Patients might try to eat them or do other stupid things with them. If your patient does not need a stair lift but is shaky at walking, install handrails on the stairs where possible or have them move in downstairs. There are 4-foot-high gates you can put at the top or the bottom of the stairway. Get rid of dangerous small appliances like a kettle, blender, deep fryer, etc. Put child-proof locks wherever necessary, even on the refrigerator if the patient is an obsessive eater. Lock up cleaning supplies and knives. Install a smoke detector near the kitchen in case the patient leaves something cooking. Remove the door lock for the bathroom because the patient could lock themselves and then do something stupid. Do the same for the bedroom. Get rid of an electric blanket. A patient could get water on the electric part causing electrocution. Get rid of portable heaters. Almost all of them have an alarm that sounds when it's tipped over and they shut off, but they're dangerous around AZ patients. They don't have to tip to cause a fire. Put something close when it's on high. Paper and cloth will catch fire at some point in time. Tape foam around the night table to minimize injury if the patient stumbles into it. The patient could fall out of bed. People put thick mats down on both sides to minimize the impact. There are chiming mats. When a patient gets up from bed, an alarm sound goes off to help alert a caregiver. People put them near the bed and the front door. A patient should not eat alone because they can choke or vomit. AZ patients can go in and out of clarity. Keep spare keys in case you need keys in a hurry when someone loses them. There are battery-operated key locators that will send an electronic sound when you push a central remote device. Have a central box to put keys, your purse, small change, etc. in. Install non-slip strips in the tub, shower and on the bathroom floor. Lower the water temperature on the water heater to below 110 degrees so the patient cannot be scalded. If the person lives in an apartment, you can buy an anti-scald device. Bright light helps the patient stay upbeat and prevents seeing shadows and thinking they are people or rats. Have a working fire extinguisher. If the person is far gone, put arrow signs up to lead the way to the bathroom. If the bathroom door stays closed, put a bathroom sign on it like a picture of a toilet. Consider a dark-colored toilet seat so it's easier for the patient to see it. You can buy raised toilet seats at medical shops or drugstores or put rails on the walls so the person can lift themselves up when they finish. Put non-skid strips on the bathroom floor in front of the toilet. Many people spill water, feces, or urine on the floor and then they slip on it and fall. Keep bathroom stuff and grooming objects to a minimum in the bathroom. The more stuff there is, the more likely that the patient will do something stupid with it. A razor can easily cut somebody. Keep things simple. Get rid of the clutter. The less things there are, the less likely the patient is to walk into it. Dementia is irreversible permanent memory loss. Dementia is a condition of progressive, irreversible memory loss and brain impairment. Dementia is not just caused by aging, which is called senile dementia. It can be caused by things like bad living, drugs, and alcohol, brain injury, virus like viral encephalitis, bad nutrition, vascular, blood flow problems, as with a stroke, no oxygen to brain, brain tumor, cancer, chemicals, pollution, bad air. The evidence says that you start to lose the brain cells that result in dementia years before you actually realize something is wrong. The first sign is the loss of instrumental activities of daily living/IADLs. Afflicted people lose the ability to drive, walk, shop, cook, remember things, read something, talk intelligently, etc. A family doctor can do simple memory tests. A neurologist can do brain scans like CT, MRI, or PET scans, but this is not an exact science. It's still an educated guess for this specialist. There is no sure test that says someone has dementia or they're just losing their memory because of an unhealthy lifestyle combined with aging. If you can afford it, go to a neurologist. They are the doctors who specialize in dementia. There are drugs to help slow down dementia. It's dangerous for a person with dementia to take drugs by themselves. A caregiver should give them their drugs and not leave them laying around unattended. Personally, I think the drug industry is mostly a scam industry. I believe in the oxygen theory of life. Pump oxygen to the brain through vigorous physical activity. Live and inspired, interesting life doing creative intellectual activities. Get my education book for ideas. Some dementia patients lose the ability to speak. Some lose the ability to do simple things like wash themselves or even go to the toilet when they feel the urge. It can get really bad. Nursing homes with Alzheimer patients are sad places. Some Alzheimer patients do crazy, unacceptable things like fondle other people, spit on them, urinate anywhere, walk around the streets aimlessly, etc. You might have to commit your demented relative to a nursing home. Aggression is common. Nocturnal living is common. Some people are energetic at night. All the senses gradually fade. There is a section on home safety in my health book and in my disability book. Pets usually help by improving the mood of demented patients. Watch the money so it doesn't run out and your loved one ends up in some 2-bit government-run nursing home. Chapter 2. Alzheimer Topics. Alzheimer disease and aluminum cookware. Some people believe there's a link between Alzheimer disease and aluminum cookware, so you should avoid cooking in aluminum cookware, drinking water treated with fluoride, which is a byproduct of aluminum production, and don't drink pop or beer out of aluminum cans. Other sources of aluminum are any drinks or food that comes in aluminum cans and antacids. Even antiperspirants in aluminum cans are bad because you spray some aluminum onto yourself when you use them. Aluminum is in baking powder, antacids, drinking water, and buffered aspirin too. Fluoride is a byproduct of the aluminum making process. alz.org/resources/factsheets/fsaluminum.pdf. alzheimerlife.info/aluminum-cookware-alzheimers.php. Familial Alzheimer's disease/FAD. Familial Alzheimer's disease/FAD is genetically inherited Alzheimer disease. It is extremely rare, accounting for 1% of all cases of Alzheimer's disease. Herbs and food to help offset Alzheimer's. Aging is accompanied by the release of more free radicals within the body. Whatever you can do to release antioxidants and minimize free radicals will keep you young and your brain strong. Within the brain, a process occurs called glycation, which is one of the causes of Alzheimer's, and it is not reversible. When you eat too much sugar, this sugar combines with amino acids in the brain to produce a crusty sediment via the process of glycation. Some parts of the brain get hard and they're ruined forever. They can't be regenerated. Even though the brain has an amazing capacity called equipotentiality, where other parts of the brain take over the functions these damaged parts used to do, it's never good to lose brain cells, and you only get a certain finite number of them anyway. The results of research tell us that Alzheimer's is somewhat diet-related. If you eat a lot of sugary foods, glycation in the brain could happen to you. Alpha-lipoic acid/ALA is considered a brain-boosting and memory nutrient. When it was given to Alzheimer patients, it did not improve brain function but stopped it from getting worse. Curry powder contains a substance called curcumin, which is sold in health food stores. It protects the brain from Alzheimer's. A combination of vitamins A and C help reduce the chances of getting Alzheimer's disease. Ribonucleic acid/RNA is a supplement that helps with memory. Lecithin supplements increase the level of acetylcholine, which is a neurotransmitter through which brain cells send signals to each other. There are people who say phosphatidylserine/PS, essential fatty acid, alpha-lipoic acid/ALA, snowdrops, snowdrop extract, and Chinese club moss extract, stop and reverse memory loss. The Chinese herbs people are talking about are gotu kola and ginkgo biloba. They improved memory in mice. They reduce an oxidant called nitric oxide. They say take vitamin E, essential fatty acids and vitamin B1 too. Lithium is a mineral sold in supplement form as either lithium aspartate or lithium orotate. Some people say use it to protect your brain from Alzheimer's. alzheimer-herb.com Docosahexaenoic acid /DHA in Alzheimer's. A wonder cure is DHA, docosahexaenoic acid, an omega-3 fatty acid. You can buy it in supplement form. DHA, docosahexaenoic acid, is a type of omega-3 fatty acid. It may help prevent the abnormal clumping of certain proteins that leads to the development of Alzheimer's disease according to studies published in the Journal of Neuroscience. A high intake of DHA has been associated with a reduced risk for developing Alzheimer's disease even though a few studies did not find the connection. DHA is the most abundant omega-3 fatty acid in the brain. It is considered so important to brain and eye development that DHA is included in most infant formula. In studies, DHA boosted the formation of LR11 in human neuronal cells. DHA is in fatty fish and also in the microalgae that fish eat. A working group from the ISFAL, International Society for the Study of Fatty Acids and Lipids, recommends 100 plus mg/day of DHA. DHA supports brain development and protects neurological function. People with Alzheimer's disease have dramatically lower levels of DHA in the brain than normal people. Higher DHA levels reduces the risk of Alzheimer's disease in elderly people. alz.org. alzfdn.ca. alzheimer.neurology.ukla.edu/dha.html. Ginkgo biloba and Alzheimer's. Ginkgo biloba has been described as clinically comparable to the prescription drug Donepezil. en.wikipedia.org/wiki/ginkgo_biloba. Vitamin B12/cobalamin and Alzheimer's. Vitamin B12 helps prevent and cure Alzheimer's, but older people often have trouble digesting it, so you have to buy a highly absorbable form of it. Alzheimer's disease patients have low vitamin B12 levels in their blood. Alzheimer's may be related to a genetic impairment in the ability to absorb vitamin B12. Elevated levels of homocysteine and decreased levels of both folate and vitamin B12 have been found in people with Alzheimer's disease. AAN.com, research ties vitamin B12 and folate deficiencies with Alzheimer's. AlzheimerSupport.com. Sundowning info. Sundowning is a delusional perception an Alzheimer patient has about his or her environment in response to the shadows that appear as the light fades when day turns to night. They start seeing shadowy things as people. The way to counteract it is to have them live in a room with lots of windows and sunlight and turn the lights on a few hours before sunset. The gender gap in Alzheimer's: women get it more. Women get Alzheimer's more than men. A part of the reason is that men die from heart disease and cancer before they ever have a chance to live long enough to get Alzheimer's. Another thing I read is that testosterone is a macho virility hormone. It keeps a man tough and active. This state of being keeps Alzheimer's away. ncbi.nlm.nih.gov/pubmed/1838105 Sex differences in Alzheimer's disease. Alzheimer products for sale. There are bathroom flood alarm that will go off if water overflows on the floor from the bathtub. There are week-long pill box that you fill up once a week. There are door and window alarms that will alert you when a door or window is opened or closed. You can put grab bars in the shower and by the toilet. There is a device that will automatically shut off the stove at a preset time when the sensor determines that no one is near the stove. A reacher is a mechanical claw that can grab things off a shelf. A toilet overflow shut-off device automatically shuts off once the water reaches a certain level. It's easy to drop something in that plugs the toilet. There is a phone called a photo phone that shows a photo of who is calling on the caller ID when someone you know calls your phone. The patient also has photos of friends on the screen. He or she touches the photo with their finger and the phone calls their number. Most cell phones now have GPS so you can track your loved one. You can see where they are on a map. They call GPS tracking something like family locator or child locator. Alzheimer.com. The Alzheimerstore.com. Alzstore.com, 800-752-3238. ProjectLifesaver.com, 877-580-5433, GPS device. LocaCKSafetyNet.com, 877-434-6384, GPS bracelet.